Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BrainScratch Commentaries, and we are doing something slightly different this time. This will be a dramatic reading of the Grand List of Console Role-Playing Game Cliches, links over there on the sidebar. Take it away, Ryan.
Number 1. The Sleepyhead Rule. The teenaged male lead will begin the first day of the game by oversleeping, being woken up by his mother, and being reminded that he slept so late that he missed the meeting of his girlfriend.
Now, I have to say this. Chrono Trigger doing that once was okay. Chrono Cross doing it a second time was just retarded. I did not like that. I really did not.
Number 2. No! No! My beloved peasant village! The hero's hometown, city, slum, or planet will usually be annihilated in a spectacular fashion before the end of the game, and often before the end of the opening scene.
Sephiroth going crazy on everyone's ass. Ring a bell.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then in Wild Arms, didn't Adlehyde get burnt down at one point? Not annihilated, but burnt down. And Final Fantasy II. Let's not forget Final Fantasy II.
Number 3. Thinking with the wrong head. The Hero Rule. No matter
Haha,
what
suggestive puns.
No matter what
Sorry.
she is accused of doing, or how mysterious her origins are, the hero will always be ready to fight to the death for any girl he met just 3 seconds ago.
We have to save the damsel in distress. It's a rule.
Well, it is called the hero rule, but
Yeah.
they're almost taking it too literally.
Yes, well, it's only the chivalrous thing to do.
Number 4. The cubic zirconium colliery.
Wait. Go back to step 3. The hero rule. Didn't Sonic do that for Amy Rose?
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
She literally 2 seconds after she glomped him for the first time, he went on a quest to save her from Metal Sonic. It was kind of stupid.
moving on.
Yes.
Number 4. The cubic zirconium colliery. The aforementioned mysterious girl will be wearing a pendant that will ultimately prove to be the key to either saving the world or destroying it.
Of course.
Or if you prefer, a ribbon in her hair. I'm not exactly sure what to call the white materia, actually.
Number 5. Logan's Run Rule. RPG characters are young. Very young. The average age seems to be 15 unless the character is a decorated and battle-hardened soldier, in which case he might be as old as 18. Such teenagers often have skills with multiple weapons and magic, years of experience, and never worry about their parents telling them to come home from adventuring before bedtime. By contrast, characters more than 22 years old will cheerfully refer to themselves as washed-up old fogies and be easier to make room for the younger generation.
Yeah.
That seems to really be true, because I don't remember seeing any RPG main character other than Mario seeming to be over the age of 20.
I think Cloud was 21.
Well, he acts like a spoiled, annoying teenager. So
It was somewhat undermined by the fact that he'd been in a test tube since he was 16. Yes.
Number 6. The single parent rule. RPG characters with 2 living parents are almost unheard of. As a general rule, male characters will only have a mother, and female characters will only have a father. The missing parent either vanished mysteriously and traumatically several years ago, or is never referred to at all. Frequently, the main character's surviving parent will also meet an awkward end just after the story begins, thus freeing him of all inconvenient filial obligations.
Filial.
Filial.
But I have to say that rule where the character's parent is always the opposite gender makes me think of Sigmund Freud.
the
Yes.
parent complex.
Yes, indeed. Onward to the next step. I don't want to think about that anymore.
Number 7. Some call me Tim. Good guys will only have first names, and bad guys will only have last names. Any bad guy who only has a first name will become a good guy at some point in the game. Good guys' last names may be mentioned in the manual, but they will never be referred to in the story. Sid comes to mind with this.
Yes, indeed.
Final Fantasy VII entirely comes to this.
Yeah.
Well,
Their last names are only mentioned in the manual.
wait, we don't even know which name Sephiroth is. Is Sephiroth a last name or a first name?
I would assume a first name.
Yeah, but what this really makes me think of is Yugi and Kaiba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yes.
Number 8, nominal rule. Any character who actually has a name is important in some way and must be sought out. However, if you are referred to as part of a possessive noun, Chrono's mom, for example, then you are superfluous.
I'm not even laughing at the rule. I'm just laughing at how you stumbled on that last
Yeah,
word.
I don't know. Words like that screw me up all the time.
That does seem to be true. Everyone who is not mentioned by name always seems to get the shaft.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, a lot in more recent RPGs, a lot of extras are getting more names and stuff. And
Well, because girl does not really, bring the world alive.
yes, yes, Sonic 06 taught us that much.
Number 9, the compulsories. There's always a fire dungeon, an ice dungeon, a sewer maze, a misty forest, a derelict ghost ship, a mine, a glowing crystal maze, an ancient temple full of traps, a magic floating castle, and a technological dungeon. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker really comes to mind in this. Because it seems to have all of those.
Yes, actually want to be the one to read Rule 11. So yeah, let's. Just wanted to say that. I just caught a glimpse of it, and I want to be the one to read it. That's
But yeah,
well,
there always
yeah.
seem to be some very generic dungeons in RPGs.
Well, yeah, but when you think about it, all the epic choices have been done. Everything is generic now. Can
Number
you think?
10. Oh, you
I
going?
was just gonna say, how many good ideas can you think of that don't fall into the done before category?
True.
Not much. Number 10, the Luddite rule, or the George Lucas rule. Speaking of which, technology is inherently evil and is exclusive province for the bad guys. They're the ones with the robots, factories, cyberpunk megalopolises, and floating battle stations, while the good guys live in small villages in peaceful harmony with nature. Although somehow your guns and or heavily armed airships are exempt from this.
That's not necessarily true in a couple of the games I played. I mean, well, Final Fantasy VII follows that rule pretty well, but Final Fantasy IX wasn't Lindblum a very technologically advanced city, especially
Yeah.
compared to
I think
Alexandria?
this rule heavily applies in 4.
Oh yes,
And a bunch
4
of
and 6.
and a bunch of non-later Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And of course, there are some games that have that where the technology is just something that's there, and neither side is necessarily the sole owner of it. Like 12, 12 comes to mind, as far as I know. I didn't actually play through the entire game. All right, and now number 11. Let's start from the very beginning, or if you prefer, the Una rule. Whenever there is a sequel to an RPG that features the same main character as the previous game, that character will always start with beginner skills. Everything that they learned in the previous game will be gone, as will all their ultra-powerful weapons and equipment. Why is it called the Una rule? It should be called the Mega Man rule. Or the
Mega Man,
Kratos.
Mega Man's not an RPG. But
Yes, I
yeah, I
know.
see where you're
And
getting with
this
it.
But this is a generic video game cliche, and I really wish they'd cut that out. At least God of
well,
War
the most
attempts
recent
to.
the most recent RPG to fall victim to this is the Final Fantasy IV, the After Years sequel,
Wait,
because
what?
you just heard of this now.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've
it's on the
never.
WiiWare, but
Um,
yeah,
uh,
Final Fantasy IV, the After Years. The main character is Cecil's son, but there are
Oh,
points where you can play as Cecil and the main characters from the previous game, but they're pretty much just as weak as they were when we first met them.
that's because they're old and washed up.
No, there's no excuse. If anything, age to give you experience.
although it's kind of funny how a game like Metal Gear Solid 2 actually tried to avoid that by having you play as someone else in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. I'll not to go off on too much of a tangent, but I think Raiden gets too much hate, and the only problem that he really has is that he sounds a little too whiny and that he looks like a woman. But yeah, I'm sorry. I have to vent whenever that subject is brought up because I hate the hate.
Rule 12. Poor little rich hero, also known as the mice rule. If the hero comes from a rich and powerful family, it will have fallen on hard times and be broke and destitute by the time the game actually starts.
I